The beginning of Tweet Brothers in the mid-20s was the culmination of a partnership between Andrew Tweet Sr. and his brother, Pat Tweet. Andrew started the business first and convinced his brother to join him, hence the original name Tweet Brothers Plumbing and Heating. And they were a small company located in downtown Green Bay, and they were successful in what they did because they were both committed to the industry. Andy Tweet Jr. joined his father in the business in the mid-50s.
Andy Tweet Jr. was my uncle, but he was more than that to me, and he trained me. He was a real mentor.
He was a very autocratic, full of life individual. And he used to involve Tom and Mike and I in a lot of meetings, and we really weren't sure what our roles were at the time that we were doing them. And I think he was just trying to expose us to things that he knew someday down the road we were going to have to do ourselves.
Andy always said, we will get the biggest job in town no matter what it takes.
The business changed somewhat from a reactive construction company to Andy just actually doing a lot of the design work himself. The company would install the systems and they could do that independently, not necessarily requiring any additional help.
In the late 60s, we merged in with Withbro Sheet Metal and Roofing.
The merger was made because Tweet Brothers had plumbing and heating, but did not have any sheet metal.
And my grandfather, Andy Tweet Sr., was talking to Andy Tweet Jr. and said, "Junior, why do we want to buy a sheet metal company?" And he said, "Dad, air conditioning is what is coming. We do plumbing and heating, but we want to get into air conditioning business." It was an era of early growth in the 70s for us. Jack Schneider, who was the president of Edward Garot and Sons, had some hospital connections that we didn't have at the time.
We were going to bid the St. Mary's Hospital project, and at that point in time, Jack Schneider didn't feel we were big enough to handle it, and I think Andy Tweet maybe thought sort of the same. So these guys thought if they joint ventured it, we'd have a better chance of getting the project.
Andy and talked Jack into merging in with us.
When we merged, actually, that's where my background was on the piping side of the business, and Tim obviously had the expertise on the sheet metal side and Tom on the plumbing.
And so Tweet Garot Mechanical was created to provide a full-service mechanical contractor, not just piping and not just sheet metal or not just plumbing, but to provide all of those services collectively so that owners wouldn't have to make choices or have three contractors doing the job that one contractor could do. I worked jointly with Mike Sturdivant, who was in charge of our HVAC group, and Tom Browner, who was in charge of our plumbers, and developed a team of how we were going to do construction, and it really catapulted us into a different level of work, and our volume increased fairly significantly. We moved to a new location in 1979 in the Packerland Industrial Park.
We were starting to do work more and more at St. Vincent's Hospital, Bellin Hospital, St. Mary's Hospital. Any hospital within 100 miles of us, we were doing work in. We're known in the industry as the hospital mechanical contractor.
And we were very successful and things were going along fine until the untimely death of Andrew Tweet in 1984.
Can you talk about Andy's death?
No. Too tough.
It was traumatic. He was my wife's father, my children's grandfather. He was the reason I came back to Green Bay.
It seemed as though it was the worst thing that ever could happen to the company.
And a lot of people thought the company would not succeed without him. And we had our doubts ourselves. And I think that we pulled together to try to just do all the things that he had been mentoring us to do and continue moving forward.
We all talked and we just said, "Tim, you're going to be the president. Jack will be the executive vice president, and Mike and I will be the vice presidents."
We moved slowly at first without Andy's influence, but then we formed some relationships with general contractors and some blue chip customers that fortunately, as their opportunities for doing more work advanced, our opportunities advanced with them.
You look at Lambeau Field, you know, it's part of your life. You sort of know every square inch of that place, and we just always had a relationship there. So Packers were pretty loyal to us, which made it a lot easier to be pretty loyal to them as well.
If I think back to what I envisioned for Tweet Garrett in the late 70s or early 80s, and I think to where we are now, in a new state-of-the-art office facility in De Pere, and a new state-of-the-art manufacturing facility in Wrightstown, I just feel like we have achieved what I had someday hoped or dreamed we might achieve. And to be at that point now, I feel an immense sense of pride for the role of everybody in our company that allowed that to happen.